Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children under the age of 12 with your parents' permission, welcome to the Sprocket and Chubbs Outdoor Podcast. In this episode, I sit down with Sprocket to talk shooting our bows, the A3G Initiative, and why Sprocket is so passionate about getting the message out about this program. So grab your favorite snacky cakes and take a listen. But before I raid my own snack shack, here's not so little old me sharing some love for our title sponsors. Are you looking for the best camouflage apparel and hunting packs on the planet? Badlands lives and breathes technology, performance, and quality. Sprocket and Chubbs love the innovative hunting apparel in the Approach and Approach FX camouflage patterns. There is apparel and a Badlands backpack for every hunting style. Badlands also offers their legendary unconditional lifetime warranty. To find out more, visit badlandsgear.com. The king of adjustable pin archery sights, HHA Sports is home of the Tetra Rise 2-pin slider. Featuring a fixed secondary pin and secondary yardage marker, the Tetra Rise allows you to adjust your aiming point at full draw. With a silky 2.1 inches of travel, the Tetra Rise features the longest sight tapes they have ever built for unmatched long-range accuracy. HHA sights are proudly made in the USA and carry a 100% lifetime warranty. Find out more at hhasports.com or visit your local archery dealer today. When you think Latitude Outdoors, you think saddle hunting. Latitude Outdoors is fueled by creativity and obsessed with the details. And their saddles are made right here in the USA. As far as we're concerned, Latitude Outdoors makes the very best hunting saddles on the market. High quality gear that is safe, comfortable, and simply fun to hunt from. There's a Latitude Outdoors saddle for every size and shape hunter out there. Want to learn more about saddle hunting? Go to latitudeoutdoors.com and have fun. Who do Sprocket and Chubbs rely on for our optics needs? Vortex Optics. Binoculars, rifle scopes, rangefinders, and more, Vortex offers premium products that are an investment in your hunting future. Their customers are at the center of everything they do. Their VIP warranty, where the VIP stands for Very Important Promise, means if your Vortex product becomes damaged or defective, they will repair or replace it at no charge to you. For all your optics needs, visit vortexoptics.com. Good morning, Sprocket.
Hey Chubbs, how are you?
I'm doing well this morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm coming to the tail end of my coffee supply this morning, and it's a pleasure pain experience right now.
I completely understand that. I'm looking at my cup and I kind of peer into the bottom of it to see the remnants.
I know that I should be hydrating by now. That's why I have a little bit of some wilderness athletes sitting in an algae next to me. But coffee time it's the right time. And it's a sad part of my day when it's all gone and I stare across at my press thinking, should I squeeze in another press today? And the unhealthy me says yes. And the want to get back to healthy me says, no, Sprocket, you're going to drink some hydration fluids. So it's almost time to make that shift.
It's funny to say it like that too, because I do the same thing. I look over, see my coffee maker. I'm like, it's real easy just to throw in a pot of coffee. But the sink is right next to it. Thought, okay, so I'll hydrate and then I'll go back and okay, I'm hydrated now. Maybe I'll make some more coffee.
You said sink. Do you actually drink that California water?
I do. I drink it from the gutter because it's probably cleaner than the stuff I get out of the faucet, but that's all right.
So then you are drinking the Kool-Aid.
I tell you what, I'm still here. Maybe it'll help me lose a little bit of this chub weight, but we'll see.
Have you been able to shoot your bow much?
I haven't, man. And it's been gnawing at me a little bit because I walk back, my target's in my backyard, and I think about, us shooting in Nebraska, and that's the last time that I've picked up my bow to shoot. I've moved it around my garage a few times and picked it up and thought, man, I'd love to get out and shoot, but usually it's dark by the time I get off work and I can go shoot. But that's my therapy, man, and I'm this close to just putting up my Morel target in my garage and shooting, 5 yards in my garage just to fling a few arrows and keep my shoulders, in tune, because it's going to take a little bit to get them back. Not much, but I miss that. How about you? You've been able to shoot it all?
Very little. And what shooting I am doing right now is what you just expressed. I put a target up in our living room and I'm shooting with a bow that does not even have a sight on it. So essentially, I'm just blind begging right now. I came back from Nebraska and stripped 2 bows down. I'm going to sell both of them. And I have my new Elite. I had purchased it, tore it apart, and sent it off to be dipped. And I'm waiting for it to be returned. So right now, my only shooting is at like 5 feet with or without my eyes closed. And then I use my shot trainer just to go through my release cycle, keeping that as honed as possible. But I'm a little nervous because I have the HHA Vortex event the end of April. And that weekend is the Beast Mode Archery Challenge 8-hour challenge up on the Tyrell Basin ski mountain. And I have not been putting arrows downrange past 5 feet. So I'm really feeling the draw to being outside and shooting at my high roller target. I have my 3D target. It's 50 yards outside the back door. And every time I let Sig out to go to the bathroom, I'm staring at my 3D target out there and I'm yearning to put arrows downrange. And I know for both of us, having the ability to shoot on a daily basis it's like a safe place for us. And I really need to get back into being able to send those arrows downrange on a daily basis.
I totally agree. And I'll mention this real quick that I've been following our buddy Chad Stillman, and he makes no excuses. He's out there in the snow, he's in his garage, and he's shooting his arrows every day. And I think to myself, that's all I'm doing is making an excuse. I could set my bow right by my garage door. So all I do is I open that door, grab my bow, shoot a half dozen shots, go back in, get on a conference call or something like that. So I need to just refocus and get out there and shoot. I have to make the time to do it because once I do, it's such a stress reliever. It really is.
I'm a firm believer, Al, that even just 1 arrow a day is beneficial to an archer. You might not achieve that mental clarity that you need on a rough day, but as far as your ability to make that one shot in the peak of season when you really need it to count, if you send 1 arrow every day, you are increasing your odds of success. And when you really break that down, how long does it take you to go out and pick up your bow and send 1 shot every day?
It's barely recognizable in the time of the day.
Yep. I look at it this way. I use a coffee press, and I know that it will take my water approximately 10 minutes to boil. And then I let my press sit for 5 to 10 minutes before I press it and have a hot cup of coffee. And that amount of time, if I don't choose to put my phone down and stay off of Facebook or Instagram or texting you to wake you up in the morning and put that 1 arrow downrange, that's my choice. It's not that I don't have the time. I'm choosing to not make the time.
Completely agree. And you touched on it with mental clarity and that stress relief. Let's talk a little bit about A3G and why you started it, what it stands for, and where it is today.
A3G. Well, we can both speak to that because you're directly a part of it now. A3G is the annual Amputee Archery Grant Initiative. And we're now, 15 months old? So yeah, we're a baby. Last January, I had a podcast scheduled with Chris Ham, co-owner of HHA, who also is your best friend and has become a very close friend of mine. And in our first episode that we had planned, we had some technical difficulties, so we ended up on the phone. And we ended up on the phone for an hour. And through that hour, Chris talked to me about things that I was doing with Limitless Outdoors, because that's really what he wanted to do the podcast on. And then we talked about him in his life and HHA USA and what Chris did through COVID to try to stay connected with his HHA USA mission. And that really transpired into his podcast. And he shared with me his need during COVID when he could not be physically with veterans with the honor flight and veterans at 3D shoots. he connected with veterans and other people that supported veterans through his podcast. And when the phone call ended, my mind started spinning. And I started thinking to myself, how can I, as Limitless Outdoors, have a greater impact on other people, or specifically other amputees, outside of having folks looking at my Facebook page or my Instagram page or my website, seeing that this middle-aged, when I say middle-aged, I was 49 years old, this middle-aged amputee outliving his life, doing everything that he wants or wishes or desires to do without any boundaries. And as I chewed on that for a couple of days, I thought, I want to do something tangible. I want to impact another amputee directly. So the following Sunday morning, for my conversation with Chris, I was sitting on the couch with my wife having coffee. And I looked at her and I said, honey, I want to start a grant program. I want to put archery equipment in the hands of amputees and encourage them to get out of their house, out of their chair, be mobile, increase their mental and physical health and quality of life through the sport of archery, because it had a huge impact on my recovery and my mental clarity and where I'm at and what I'm doing today. And my wife looked at me and she said, I think that is a fantastic idea. I think you need to do it. And her only concern was being able to obtain the archery equipment, especially because this was the end of January of 2022. I was planning on having the grant program, the application period ending in May. And having never done this, how would I be able to obtain all the equipment in that short period of time? And she asked me, what happens if you're not able to obtain what I call the basic archery package? Are you willing to spend the money to pick up the shortfalls and put this equipment in the hands of another amputee? I said, absolutely. Yes, I will. I will budget it and I will fund it if I have to personally. And I did not have to do that. We were overwhelmed with the support that we received from some industry leading companies. Fast forward to July, we selected our amputee. We made the announcement at the Total Archery Challenge in Pennsylvania. The Total Archery Challenge was welcoming and put us out in the limelight with the Limitless Outdoors truck. Prime was there. Prime had donated the flagship bow for the program last year. They had one of their marketing reps there. They were present for it. Phil from Four Arrows Outdoors, who was instrumental in obtaining that bow for me and the connection with Prime, he happened to be there shooting, so he was present. We had a wonderful time. And then we made the actual, I'm sorry, that was not July, that was in June. In July, we actually presented the donation to our recipient of last year at Chris Ham's HHA USA shoot up in, you were there, Al. What was do you remember the name of the archery club there? Which shoot it was?
Twin Cities.
Twin Cities. And it was, wow, did we have a great time. Now we have continued to push forward. 2022, A3G was not a nonprofit. It was a not-for-profit program. However, we were not a legitimate 501c3 program. We are now a 501c3 program. In January, we submitted the paperwork, established a board of directors, which you are the vice president of the board of directors. And we have pushed forward. We've doubled the amount of donations this year in equipment. We have over doubled the amount of applications that we have had this year. We have added a all-inclusive archery hunt in Texas for this year's recipient. What does that mean? The recipient has their travel paid for to and from the hunt if they're in the lower 48 of the United States. They have their lodging paid for. They have food paid for. Transportation in and around the area is covered. They have a 2,300-acre private low-fence ranch to hunt deer on. They have a one-on-one professional guide that will be hunting with them. They have meat processing donated and shipping of the meat if they harvest a deer. They have the choice of either a Euro or a full shoulder mount, which has been donated to them for the animal that they shoot, and shipping of that product for them. This is a lifetime opportunity hunt for this amputee. Any archery hunter in the lower 48, well, probably the world, would pay a lot of money to go and attend this hunt. And it is 100% paid for. They just have to submit an application for the program, get selected by our panel, and then show up for the hunt. I have a whole list of folks that have donated here, Al, if you want me to go through it.
Yeah, we may have to, because quite a few people ask me, and this is for you listeners that have reached out to me, not knowing that I was even part of the A3G program now, asking me, hey, we want to know more about A3G. What is that? We want to be involved with something like that. And that's awesome. I know that these items that are donated for this grant, I don't know if our listeners really can fathom the number of companies, the number of products and the gear that they have provided. I mean, you mentioned it. That hunt in Texas, that's something someone would absolutely pay for. And if you listen to our earlier tailgate talk that we talked about with coolers, all that is taken care of for you. I mean, that's a huge weight off your shoulders there, let alone your archery gear. The only thing you really have to do, you have to do two things. You have to apply, and then if you are selected, then you have to practice. That's it. And okay, three things. You have to get there, but that's going to be covered as well. So it's a matter of you just need to want it. And I think that a really important factor that changed this year was, instead of just the amputee applying and submitting an application, that anyone could nominate someone this year.
That's correct.
That, I think, is key, because there's a lot of people that don't feel worthy, that don't want to be put in the limelight. And I respect that. But I also think that, you know what, everybody's worthy. And everybody, if you don't want to be in the limelight, that's perfectly okay. But you know what, this will help mentally, physically. You will gain 2 new friends right off the bat. I mean, anything that you need as far as guidance, we're here. You and I are 100% supportive of any archer. It doesn't even have to be part of this program, but any archer, if they have questions. We're not experts, but we'll help you with our experience.
We will certainly give you our opinion.
That's right. It may not be right, and Aaron and I may not agree, but we'll give it to you. Let's go back to the main gear package that you put together. And I think it's important when you say flagship bow, because some people will ask, I'll just take any old bow. But I think it's very important that whoever is the recipient get a flagship bow, due to the fact that none of us think anybody that's applying is lower than anybody. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Like, we're not just going to give you some random off the shelf, ready to hunt package. This is going to be for you. And it's going to be top of the line from top of the line companies that our goal is to make sure that you're successful and that you enjoy it.
So, Al, a big difference from last year to this year. Last year, Prime donated an Inline 3, which was their flagship bow. For anybody listening to this episode that is not into the archery industry, what does a flagship bow mean? That means that is the top tier bow that a company has released for the calendar year or for the previous calendar year. Whatever that year is, it is their number one bow that they produced and are selling to the public. Last year, the Inline 3, when I say it's a big bow, meaning it's 4.5 pounds and the draw weight varies from 50 to 70 plus pounds. There were concerns last year how a female or a youth might be able to utilize that piece of equipment. And it became a concern of the A3G initiative. So how did we tackle and change that for 2023? Elite Archery is providing the bow for this year if the recipient wants a bow. They're providing the recipient with a code for Elite, and they're able to order whatever bow they want from Elite, excluding the new Carbon Era. That one is not on the table, but they can choose an Omnia or any other bow in the lineup that works for the recipient. So that allows a youth or a female to pick a bow if they do not believe they'll be able to effectively shoot the Omnia. So that's a huge change for this year. It really opens up the application field for those that felt they could not capitalize or use last year's bow package. The other thing that I want people to understand is last year, our recipient, Andrew, was a upper limb single arm amputee. He shoots with a mouth tab. So if you are a upper limb amputee, single arm, and you're new to archery and you do not know how you would shoot a bow, you are able to use a mouth tab, and we're able to connect you with folks that can help coach you and mentor you and assist you through your journey as a single arm archer. If you are a double arm amputee and you are interested in archery and the A3G Initiative, you can apply. It's in our online application. We'll talk about that before the podcast ends. We will connect you with a crossbow. So you are still eligible for the program. Elite will still provide the code for us to use for a fundraiser or a future program. It's that simple. I do not live my life with boundaries, Al, and I do not want this program, the A3G Initiative, to have any boundaries for an amputee if they want to apply for this initiative and this grant program. It's important to me. So what is the basic archery package? I wanted an individual to receive everything that they needed to safely shoot in an archery shop at a target range, or if they are able to legally and safely shoot in their backyard, they can do it there. So in the basic archery package, you have the bow itself, you have a sight, you have a rest, a stabilizer, a quiver, a dozen custom arrows that are made to your specifications, a release, if it's applicable, a bow case, a target, and a rangefinder. This year in 2023, that basic archery package is valued over $3,000.
It's pretty remarkable for us, even when you look at that. If that were available to anyone, I want to point that out too, that this is open to any amputee. It's not specifically for veterans or first responders. It's everyone. So if you know someone that's an amputee, or if you're an amputee yourself, apply. If you want to do that, or if you are curious about helping anything, but apply. And the application, I have to correct myself there. The application is easy to fill out. You've made it simple this year.
And that's another big change, Al. So last year, I admit I'm retired military and I fall into that military mindset often. And I was viewing last year as what an individual do if they apply for a grant, let's say to go to school. It's very specific. They have very specific requirements because they're flooded with applications, and they have to have a process to weed things out and narrow the numbers down. And last year, that's where my mindset was. So I went a little over the top. I openly admit it. I was specific on what font the application had to be in, how many words it had to be in, where you would send it, how you would title it. And it was extreme. It's a learning process. So this year, through some sound advice from my wife and from my vice president here, we now have a Google form on the internet. It has fillable fields. You access that form, you put in the information, you answer the questions, and you hit send, and it comes directly to us. It is so simple. It is straightforward, and it easily captures all the information that we need to put into our, it's not metrics. What is the word just slipped my mind. My wife's going to laugh at me right now. Anyhow, when we go through the selection process, all three of us are involved with it. We will all review the applications. We have all of the priorities and guidelines and what we're looking at, and then we will rank them all, and then we will sit down, the three of us, and start narrowing it down to who's going to be the recipient this year and or the alternate recipient this year. That's how it's going to work. It's so much easier.
It's exciting to see that, because it's easy for any of us to just copy that link and send it out to people. And you and I have posted it numerous times on Instagram and Facebook, and more applications are coming in. The ease of that for both parties is awesome.
Al, it's called a rubric. We have a
rubric. There we go.
For how we are for how we are looking through the applications.
I'm glad you remembered that because my coffee settled.
That was going to drive me nuts. I had to dig deep for that one.
And this is going to be, we're absolutely 110% trying to make it as easy on the person applying, whether it's for someone or it's for you, to get that in there. And the reason that we're, mentioning this in this podcast is there's basically 6 weeks left from this time. So
April 15th.
Yeah.
April 15th, the application period closes because we are announcing the recipient on April 29th. So between the 15th and the 29th, we, as the board of directors for A3G, we have to have time to go through all of those applications individually, then come together and look at the rubric and how we have prioritized all those applications, select our top two. So we'll have the primary and the alternate, and reach out to them, verify our recipient. And then we're making the announcement in Wisconsin at another HHA USA event. This one is, we spoke about it a few minutes ago. It will be at the HHA USA Mission 24 Archery event. There is a country concert that Saturday night. Chris Ham is debuting a film on the A3G Initiative, and we're going to announce the 2023 recipient at that event. And then we want to get the archery equipment into the hands of our recipient sometime in May. So they have from May through September to prepare for their October archery hunt in Texas.
Now, what if someone wants to apply, but they can't make the hunt?
We haven't crossed that bridge yet.
So it's something to consider. We still want you to apply.
Absolutely.
We still want you to get in there. Just because you might not be able to make the hunt, don't feel that that's an obstacle. We'll work with you. The point is we want to get that bow, get that archery package in your hands so that you can shoot. You can get that dialed in for your set, your particular style, and shoot and start practicing with it. We're hoping that this reaches even more, and it has. It's reached a lot more people this year, but feel free to share this with anybody and everyone. I mean, we're excited about this. I mean, I'm pretty quiet over here only because I'm just kind of in awe of this. When the program first started, seeing the people's faces when Andrew received his package. Now, I think it's interesting, and I'm going to mention this too, is that Sprocket, you drove all of the gear out to Wisconsin in your Limitless Outdoors.
Yeah, it was
truck.
It was like a 13-hour drive at $4.80 a gallon.
That was not part of the package. But
that was not part of the package, but that's what we did. And Al, if I have the ability, I want to be present every single year that we donate this archery package to an amputee. It means so much to me. If they're going to debut this film in April, and Chase Nation was the film crew on site, and they filmed the presentation of the gear. And I'm so passionate about this. I had no idea how emotional it was going to be for me providing this to Andrew. I was fighting back tears. It's a powerful moment. And I really, really want to continue maintaining that level of excitement and meaning through the program. And, I want to be able to provide this equipment in person. The other thing that we are very adamant about is the bow will have service attached to it at a local archery shop. So wherever the recipient lives, we intend to have a bow shop as close to you as possible, and or at that recipient's request. That's where the bow will go, and that's who will help build your bow for you and tune your bow, and then hopefully connect you with some local archers that will assist you with your journey.
It's a huge win for the recipient, is to be able to have that worked on without having to worry about it, and know that I say most because I can't guarantee all, but most of the costs involved with that will be covered. Yeah, you might have to drive, 20 miles to a place that's up to you, but the actual servicing is taken care of. We want this to be as little weight, if any, on your shoulders other than practice. And the reason we started off talking about our being able to shoot is we have gotten to a point where we've been doing it for a long time. it is still the best therapy that I've found. Just to get out and release that one arrow. I mean, I said 6 arrows. You make a good point. One arrow, getting out there, doing that cold shot, shooting, one shot, come back in. The incredible feeling after that shot, you can only experience by shooting that bow.
Agreed, Al. Why do I believe archery is so therapeutic? When you pick up that bow, all of the outside noise in your life goes away. You're focused. So whether you're shooting one arrow or you're going to shoot for a half an hour, all of those voices in your head, all of those demons, all of those bad things that you're dragging around in that black, dirty, ugly sack on your back, they go away. And depending upon where you live, you can do it from your own home. When I'm really having a bad day, I can pick up my bow and I can go out to my target. I make all the noises go away. And people say, hey, I can do that with a firearm as well. And I'm a huge fan of firearms. I'm a big 2A fan. You're right. You can absolutely do it with a firearm. But what is required with a firearm? You have to buy ammunition. Every time you shoot, you have to go resupply. You have to have a range that you can go shoot at. You have to take the transportation time to get there and back. You have to pay range fees. You might have to wait in line for your turn for your range. With archery, you don't have to do that. Unless you break or lose an arrow, when you receive a dozen arrows through the A3G Initiative, you shoot those arrows over and over and over again. You resupply by walking down to your target and pulling arrows. And again, like I said, you can shoot at your local archery shop. You can shoot at your local archery club or flat range. And if you are able to, you can shoot inside your house or out in your backyard. And when I say I shoot inside my house, I have a big bag target and I shoot 5 feet from my target. I'm not going to put an arrow through the wall. And I do it safely. There's nobody in the house with me when I do it. And even though I'm only 5 feet from my target, I'm still knocking that arrow. I'm still clipping into my D loop. I come to full draw and I'm going through all of the processes inside my head for that release. I don't have to be shooting at 50 yards at a 3D target to clear my mind and make all that bad stuff go away. I can do it from 5 feet. I can also do it with a shot trainer. And you know what, Al? Now that we're sitting here talking, we should probably put a shot trainer on that list of things that are donated to our recipient. Why have we never thought about that? It's a part of I travel with one. When I fly, my shot trainer is in my carry-on and my release. Everywhere I go, if I don't have my bow with me and I'm going to be traveling or gone for a weekend or a couple of days, my shot trainer and my release is traveling with me. Why did we not think about that?
That's a very good question. We're going to add one to it. I think you hit it. It needs to be there.
Yeah. So although we're sitting here talking about how much we've improved over the last year, from the 2020 donation package to the 2023 and the addition of this once in a lifetime hunt opportunity, we still have shortfalls. We still have areas within the initiative that require support. A shot trainer would be phenomenal to have a part of this package. We're still missing sticks for the lock-on stand that we have. We're still we still need funding for certain activities within the grant program. What I would like the program to move towards in the future is it would be wonderful to have the recipient on site when we make that announcement. If A3G had the funds available, if I could afford it personally, I would fund the travel and the lodging for the 2023 recipient to be present at Tyler Basin at the country concert with me, with Chris, with HHA USA, when we debut the A3G Initiative film and we make that announcement and be able to have them come up on stage and be recognized by the 300 to 500 people that are going to be there at that event. That's what I would love to take place. And I would love to be able to have that individual present every year when we do this announcement, but we need the backing for that.
Agreed. And we are human beings. We do have our shortfalls. So if you listeners have a suggestion, please send it to us. just the fact that you thought of that shot trainer right now, I can guarantee there's a couple other things that we haven't thought of that would be beneficial for someone. If there is something that you think would be beneficial, please let us know. We're not perfect, and this is going to continually grow every year, and that's exciting.
Al, yeah. So there's another thing that, we've been talking about on the backside of the grant is, especially for this hunt, if we have a bilateral lower limb amputee selected and they're not able to ambulate from the side-by-side that they'll be transported in down on the ranch to their blinds, and we need a track chair, we're going to be looking for someone to, if not donate a track chair to the individual, donate the use of a track chair to this individual in Texas. We will need to fill that hole. So for everybody that listens to this podcast or shares this podcast, please go to A3G Initiative.org, which will take you to the webpage, or you can go to limitlessoutdoors.com. There's a whole A3G page. There is a donate button there. If you want to donate, if you want to support, please help A3G grow and impact the life of amputees. You can go to my link tree, when I say our, there is an A3G Initiative Instagram account. It has a link tree in the bio. And that link tree is the link to donate to the A3G Initiative. If you have an equipment idea, if you have a product that you want to donate to the program, please go to our website, go to our Instagram page and donate. We have a Facebook page. If you're not able to contact us on any other means, go to our Facebook page and make an open public comment or send us a direct message. We also have a Gmail account. It's a3g.initiative@gmail.com. Please email us with suggestions, ideas, or how you can donate and support. All of this information will be provided in the description of this episode.
Having those connections right there is key for everyone. I mean, we're going to change somebody's life this year, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I'm thrilled to see how many people are getting involved, how many people are actively promoting it that aren't even involved, and I'm excited. I really am. So 6 weeks from now, we're going to be going through and reading through all of the applications, and I'm sure that each one of them is going to put a smile on our faces as far as what we can do for someone, and we're going to choose the beneficiary of this, and it's going to be ongoing. Submit those applications and we'll go from there.
Al, I'm going to tell one quick story before we close this out. I was recently at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon, and I was walking the floor, and a man and woman came up to me, and the woman was an amputee. And this wasn't just any random woman. Last year, the A3G had an applicant from Longview, Washington. She was not selected last year, but this was that individual. She was at the show. She is enjoying her life as an amputee. She has recently been the keynote speaker at an event down in Southern Oregon. She is thriving, and she is learning to live without boundaries. They saw me at the show and approached me, and we shook hands, hugged, had conversation. It was amazing. The A3G Initiative is real, and it is impacting amputees, and we are only limited to our own imagination and the support of others.
I say we leave it at that. That's a great testament to this program.
Al, I've said it before in an episode. One of my favorite parts of podcasting is seeing your face.
That's a scary thought, but I appreciate it, Sprocket. I always love chatting with you. Look forward to the next time.
And there you have it. The A3G Initiative is going strong. There are exciting things on the horizon. And Chubbs, that's me, is out of snacks. Here's where Sprocket and Chubbs need your help. While we don't need more snacks, if you do like the podcast, or don't, please leave us a review on the platform where you listen. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so that you will be notified when we launch each new episode or tailgate talk. More than anything, Sprocket and Chubbs want to thank you for your continued support.